Hello you lot, how's it going? What a bloody brilliant day it is at the moment. I've come out here a little bit impromptu, as usual to be honest. I never really have many plans when I do a video of anything really. So, I want to have a look at this Savage Octane, but before I do that I need to have a bit of a tidy up. This morning, about 7 o'clock, I was playing around trying to get this Haggard SSK to run, and it now runs, drives, turns, brakes, does everything that it should do. I need to go and give this a bit of a test drive next. But I've still got a mess everywhere because everything that I used. I literally went indoors, said hello to the wife, she said go away, so I thought right. So I've done a few bits and bobs in the garden, and now I'm just thinking to myself, let's try and mend the Savage Octane. I've got a box, well I've got a drawer for the spark plugs, I've got bits and bobs, I've got an instruction manual, let's get it to run. Right, so there could be a few different things wrong with it, a few different scenarios, and we're just going to slowly go through a few of them, 1, 2, maybe 3 of them, and just see if we can get it to actually run. Because when I went out for a little test drive, when I was here, started it up, it would tick over and it would rev and it would be lovely. But when I went out the other day to try and get it to just drive around, it wouldn't even start, and it would start, but it wouldn't stay running. It'd start, conk out, start, and the way that it was doing it seemed to me like it was an ignition problem. It was just losing spark, whether it was on purpose because it thought something was wrong, or because it just something wrong with it. It doesn't seem like a fueling problem, but we'll come to that and we'll find out. It might be, we'll see, and hopefully we'll get it to work and I can test drive it tomorrow. I just had another message, by the way. People keep asking me, do I mend RC cars? You know, I'm not a business, I'm not a shop, I don't mend RC cars for people. I have done a few in the past, and I never feel like I can charge for anything. I never feel like I can say, yeah, this was 50 quid, give me 50 quid, 40 quid, 20 quid. I don't want to give a price. I always just say to the people, if I mend a car for someone, I say to the people, if you want to give me some money, whatever you think my time was worth to you, then just I'll accept whatever you want to give me. That's fair enough. And nobody's ever paid me anything, so to me that means that what I do isn't good enough. Do you know what I mean? So I can't then ask for a price. If people aren't willing to pay me, then I'm not going to ask to be paid. Do you know what I mean? And I know some people are going to say, well, some people just take advantage, and they do. Some people do take advantage, but I like to give people the benefit of the doubt, especially subscribers, because I like to think that they're all genuine people, and if they don't want to pay me, I'm not going to ask to be paid. So I don't mend cars for people. You know, it's as simple as that. I just generally don't do it. So I must get about 10-15 messages every day asking me to mend people's cars for them, to go to their houses, to meet them in car parks, you know, for them to come here. What? No, absolutely not. Not mending anybody's cars. Simple as that. But I'll help you out. I will help you out in messages. If you want me to, if you send me videos of what your car's doing, I'll talk to you in messages, you know. Don't do phone calls, but I'll do messages. And, you know, you can send me videos of what's happening and I'll tell you what to do. I'll send you a video back on how to mend it, how to do whatever you need to do. Because I like to help, but I don't like to be taken advantage of. Thank you very much. So, I think the first thing we'll do, we'll change the plug over and see if, because we've got consistent spark when it's out, but let's put a new plug in it, or at least a different plug. I know I've got a drawer full of plugs, whether I've got the right plug I don't know yet, we'll find out. Now over here, this is my, not that one, this is my spark plug drawer. I've got different plugs. That's a BM6A. These are for cars. These are for those little Honda generators. CM6. That's a CM6. What's this one? That's a CM6 as well. If I have a focus on it. CM6. That's an NGK Japan one. That's a genuine NGK one. This one's an AGM. That's a Chinese one. So this one would have come out of an old generator, and it obviously still worked. That's why I put it in this drawer. What's this one? This is an AGM as well. Quality Hobby Accessories. What is it though? CM6. Brand spanking new in the packet. What do you think? Should we put the brand new one in it or put one of the old ones in? I think we'll put the brand new one in, because at least we've got the best chance of it actually doing what we want it to do. I was hoping I'd have the right one in there. I was pretty certain I would have some old ones because, as I say, those old Honda generators that I used to buy a lot of those little Honda 350 generators, little tiny 25cc or 20cc engine, I think they were, and they took those little plugs, and they were great little generators. I could get them. People just, they wouldn't, you know, they'd stick them in their garage, they wouldn't work. They'd get the ump, you know, and that's that. They'd set them on the old ski bay, and then you got yourself a nice little generator. Very easy to do. Oh yeah, I cable tied all that together, didn't I? I know what, I probably don't need to take this cage off. I'm talking to you lot, getting carried away. I probably don't even need to take the cage off. I can get the watch set in between. Look, get that off. I'm also going to have a look at the battery, make sure we got enough. It might have been going flat. That might have been why it was working and now it weren't. Let me just go and get the socket. Just in case you're wondering, it's a 14mm, because these plugs are smaller than the normal plug. You know, if you've got a Rovan or a Low C or any other petrol RC car, they'll be a bit bigger. Just get that out of there. Now this is the original RCEX, whatever that says on there. So this will be the original plug, but it's a CM6, so that's good. Now I'm going to keep it because I'm going to put it up there. Actually, I'm going to put it in the plug drawer, because if I can get this to run properly and run right and stay running, I'm going to take this plug out and put the old one back in, because I don't want to run a new plug if I don't need to. Do you know what I mean? I don't like to replace and keep new things in things if the old thing was alright. It probably doesn't make any sense to you. But if this plug is alright, that piston in there is mint. I don't think this has been run very much at all. I really don't. I'd be surprised if this has been probably barely ran in, to be honest. I'd be very, very surprised. Let's just get the thread started. Yeah, I'll be very surprised if this has been run in, because it's probably been run, but it's barely got anything on it, because that piston down there is minty fresh. Doing a little bit of research as well. I was just looking around on some forums and that, basically. Got to make sure we squash the washer. And from what I've read, I might be wrong, but from what I've read on forums and release papers and other bits and bobs and bollocks, is that the ones with this colour exhaust pipe, like a blacky browny colour, were it was the first ones to roll off the production line. So this potentially is one of the first Octanes to come out of HPI, you know, one of the first ones to be made. I don't know if it's true, but it's just, I've read it on, you can't believe everything you read on forums and things, but I read that and I thought, oh man, that would explain a few things, you know. But I don't know if that's true. There'll be some geeks out there that might know, and then, you know, you'd be like, well, yeah, that is true, or no, that's not true. But and then after this, I don't know if they made some modifications to it or whatever. It's not version 2, but they made, like, just done some things or whatever, and they changed it to like a stainless or a shiny, or whatever you want to call it, white, grey, whatever pipe. That's what I've read, so it's interesting if that is the truth, because it means that this is one of the first original ones, you know. It's a genuine one, so to speak. So to speak. Let's put that in there. That goes in there. Right, let's take all this battery tray apart. Well, I ain't got to do much. The other thing I'm going to check, I might not check it now, I might try and fire it up after I've checked this battery, is the timing. Because obviously the ignition coil, or CDI, or whatever you want to call it, that needs to know when to fire, when to send a spark to the spark plug, right? It needs to know when, and it has to do that just before the piston reaches TDC, the top of the stroke. Just before it'll spark, and the piston keeps coming up, and then as it's exploding, it's igniting, it's still going up, right? And then it'll reach full compression, and then it'll go down. Don't forget it's 2 strokes, so it'll do that once every 2 strokes. But if the timing's wrong, the ignition timing is slightly out, or it's wrong, it won't run properly. It might not run at all, but it, you know, that could be part of the problem. So I will check that after, but that obviously means I've got to take the engine out, so I'll mess around with that on a later date. So this is the battery which does the ignition. Let's test it and see how much electric is in the battery, and if it's a bit flat, that would probably explain what the problem is. Well, it's got 99%, 5 cell, 81%, 5 cell, 6.63 volts, and it's a it's obviously a hump pack, you know, 6 volts. I could potentially, again, from what I've read on forums, I might be wrong. And before I do anything, like actually do anything, I'm going to read the instruction manual to make sure what I've read in the forum was right, because I've got the full engine manual here. But someone said on one of the forums that you can put a LiPo on it, and you can put up to 8, I think it was 8.5 or something like that, 8.1. You can put over 8 volts into that ignition coil and it'll be perfectly happy. In fact, it'll perform better. I don't know if that's true. I'm going to find out. Don't worry. I'm going to find out in this video, and we'll do it if I can do it. If I can't do it, I won't do it. But maybe this 6 volt isn't quite adequate. I don't know. This is what troubleshooting and problem solving is all about. Anyway, I'll see you in a minute. Right, yeah, it weren't very flat. It took 14 minutes and 2 seconds. And it took 49 milliamps. Yeah, 14 minutes and 2 seconds. A charge rate of 1 amp to charge up. So it weren't very flat, and what that was on, 80 whatever it was percent, that would have been more than enough to fire that coil. So let's have a quick little look in the manual just to see if we can stick a LiPo in it or not, and if we can, we'll try it with a LiPo, and if we can't, then I'll put that battery back in it and we'll try and fire it up with that new plug, and we'll see what happens. By the way, this isn't like a proper we're going to get it going video, it's just a bit of fun. We're having a look at it. Basically, you just follow me around as I'm messing around. I might be able to get it to go, I might not. We'll see. And if it does run well, I'll give it a test drive tomorrow, and hopefully it will stay running when I actually take it out. Right, unless I'm being blind, it goes through everything to do with the petrol. It goes through the carburetor, the needle settings. It goes through all that kind of stuff. Testing sensor function, timing sensor function. Remove the test lead from the ignition box. Remove the engine from the car. Remove the timing sensor from the engine and connect it to the ignition box. Simulate the flywheel magnet operation. Bring the south pole of a magnet towards the underside of the sensor tip until contact is almost made. If you see a spark or hear a snap crack, proceed to step 7. Interesting. Alright, we'll test that sensor in a minute. Test an ignition box power output. Oh, here we go. Look, I didn't see this bit a minute ago. I must have gone over it. The voltage reading proceed to step 5. Let's put right to the lead. Fully charged receiver pack. A fully charged receiver pack, but it doesn't tell you. Doesn't tell you what voltage the receiver pack should be. You know what I mean? If they call it a receiver pack, it doesn't tell you what voltage it should be. So that ain't no good to me, bitch. Nah, I'm pretty sure it'll be fine the way it is. Let's plug this in. Let's just see. It's fully charged, I know it is, but just for curiosity's sake. 5S, 7.27 volts, 99% charge. So we're at 7.26 now. So interestingly enough now, well actually no, because I put a new plug in it, so if it does run, it's because it's probably down to that plug, to be fair. I mean, you'll be surprised how much chaos a spark plug can cause. Trust me, I've been there many times, you know, I used to do a lot of motocross and that, running the bikes and even mowers and strimmers, and you know, you think, you go, well, why ain't it running properly? Let's have a look at the plug. The plug is sparking. There's a good strong blue spark, as it should be, but when you go to start it up, you know, it might start up but it'll run crap, you know, and it won't rev, and you think, bloody, what's the matter with it? It's got a nice blue spark, it's constant spark, but actually it is the plug. You put a new plug in, it fixes all your problems. You will be surprised. Let's get this on the floor and try and start it up. Now, you must forgive me for the mess behind, because it's just messy. I've been doing loads of stuff, and you know what it's like. You do stuff and then you make a mess, don't you? And it's just chaos. So where's the choke gone? Someone's nicked the choke. There it is. Let's see what happens. Oh, I turned it on. Turn on. There we go. Put that down, and then see what happens now. I thought we were onto a winner then. I really did think we was onto a winner then. Interesting. There's a lot of it coming out there, a lot of unburnt petrol, but when the revs get high, it just stops. It just cuts out. Interesting. Could very well be that sensor, you know. That could very well be that sensor. Not sensing that the revs are high, and then it don't run, it cuts out. Could be. I'm just playing around with this needle here. This is the high-speed needle. I'm just playing around with it, richening it up a little bit, because it might be lean, but I'm still thinking it's definitely ignition. think we got it, you lot. I think we got it. Too rich now, obviously, but I think we got it. Did I speak too soon? I think I spoke too soon. That ran really well then. That ran brilliantly. I thought we had it. I wonder if it's when it gets hot. It don't like it. Could be that sensor. Could very well be that sensor. It's just, I know I'm going against cardinal rules. I'm doing things I shouldn't do by playing with the needles when it's cold and all of that. I know. But sometimes you've got to experiment, otherwise you never get anywhere. Turn it off, turn it back on again. Right, out of curiosity, let's now see what the voltage of this battery is that's doing the ignition. Let's see what the voltage of that is now. Just out of curiosity, because if that's dropped back down to 6 something, and that's our problem. 7.9 is where it's at now. 7.9 or 7.09 I should say. So it's still more than within what the battery should be. But it's interesting, it's intermittent, and how when the engine gets hot is when it decides it doesn't want to run anymore. Because now it's doing exactly what it was doing the other day when I was out and about. So it is interesting. I'm going to plug this back in. I'm running out of time bad. I've got to go to a birthday party. Kid's birthday party. Take my kids to a kid's birthday party, so I'm running out of time. So I can't fanny around with this for very long. Come on. But I thought to myself, let's have a look. So, right. Let's give it one more go. See if it wants to go now. And if it's make sure we've got no vacuum in the tank, because if your vents on your tank aren't working and you've got a vacuum on the tank, it can't get the petrol, and that will make it not run, obviously. Well, I reckon what we've got to do now Next thing to do then is to get that sensor out and test that sensor, make sure that's working. If that is working, well, it's got a bit of coil really. But we'll do that next. I've run out of time for today. For hanging around with me, thanks for coming, having a little look, and it's very, very smoky in here now. Look at that wet smoke. Bloody hell, mad, isn't it? Cool. Makes you feel out of breath. Anyway, I'll see you lot on the next one. Plenty of stuff coming up. We've got nitro, we've got petrol, we've got all kinds of random things coming up. Little Thunder Tiger SSK is running, as I said, so I'm going to give that a little test drive, and hopefully if I get a bit more time this evening after this birthday party, or maybe tomorrow or whenever during the week, I'm going to take that engine out, have a look at that sensor, but I'll put it in a video so you can see what I'm doing, and then maybe you can learn something, maybe we can learn together, I don't know. Anyway, treat people nice, treat people like you want to be treated. By the way, that seems to have caused a bit of a problem. When I say treat people how you want to be treated, the thing is, you might want to be treated a certain way, but then other people might not want to be treated that way. So that is a tricky thing. I don't know why I say it really. I just assume everybody's nice, you know. I had a comment saying that doing an accent, like an Irish accent, a northern accent, a foreign accent, is derogative and disrespectful. I don't think it is. I think it's just a part of life. You do people's accents. I'm flattered when people try and do an English accent. I think it's great. I love it. So, doing a different accent. But that's, you know, that's just me. I don't mind it when people impersonate me. Maybe other people get offended when you impersonate them. I don't think that's the case somehow. But anyway, treat people how you want to be treated. Try not to upset people. But if you do, that's just life. Move on and enjoy it. Cheerio, you lot. All the best.